to the 2023 CDL Hazmat Practice Test. This test has 60 questions with explained answers to help you prepare for this test. Before we get started, don't forget to jumpstart that like button to keep this channel running. Now here is your CDL instructor to walk you through the question.
Question 1. Which of the following actions should you avoid when transporting division 1.1 or 1.2 explosives? A. Use a single vehicle with proper placarding. B. Store them alongside flammable materials. C. Transport them in a combination vehicle without placarding. D. Keep them separate from placarded tanks. The correct answer is C. Transport them in a combination vehicle without placarding. When transporting Division 1.1 or 1.2 explosives, it is essential to placard the vehicle properly to indicate the presence of hazardous materials. Transporting them in a combination vehicle without placarding would violate safety regulations and fail to inform others about the hazardous materials being transported. Question 2. What is the primary action to take during a hazardous materials emergency? A. Document the incident. B. Warn others of the danger. C. Evacuate the area immediately. D. Contact local news agencies. The correct answer is B. Warn others of the danger. During a hazardous materials emergency, the most crucial step is to warn others of the danger. This is essential for ensuring the safety of individuals in the vicinity. Alerting people to potential hazards enables them to take necessary precautions, helping to prevent exposure to hazardous materials and reducing the risk of harm. Question 3. How often should you conduct inspections on your dual tires while transporting hazardous materials? A. Every 2 hours or 100 miles. B. Whenever you stop for meals. C. Every 3 hours or 150 miles. D. Once a day during daylight hours. The correct answer is A. Every 2 hours or 100 miles. When transporting hazardous materials, it is essential to regularly inspect your dual tires to ensure their integrity and safety. The recommended interval is every 2 hours or 100 miles, as per regulations, to prevent potential tire-related issues during transit. Question 4. While conducting an en route inspection, what action should you take if you find an overheated tire? A. Continue driving, but at a reduced speed. B. Sprinkle water on the tire to cool it down. C. Immediately stop and replace the tire. D. Remove the tire and place it far away from the vehicle. The correct answer is D. Remove the tire and place it far away from the vehicle. When you encounter an overheated tire during an en route inspection, the best course of action is to remove the tire from the vicinity of the vehicle. Placing it far away helps prevent any potential fire hazards and allows the tire to cool down safely. Question 5. While parked at a truck stop, where should you position the shipping papers? A. On the dashboard near the windshield. B. In the passenger seat. C. Driver's door pouch. D. Under the vehicle's hood. The correct answer is C. Driver's door pouch. When stopped at a truck stop, you should keep the shipping papers either on the driver's seat or in the driver's door pouch. This ensures easy access for law enforcement or safety inspectors and helps you remain compliant with regulations regarding document accessibility. Question 6. Who holds the responsibility for verifying the accurate naming, labeling, and marking of a hazmat shipment? A. Receiver. B. Inspector. C. Dispatcher. D. Carrier. The correct answer is D. Carrier. The carrier is tasked with the responsibility of ensuring that the shipper has correctly named, labeled, and marked a hazardous materials shipment. This ensures that the hazardous materials are transported safely and in compliance with regulations. Question 7. When refueling a vehicle displaying hazardous materials placards, where should a person be positioned? A. At the nozzle controlling the fuel flow. B. At a distance observing the operation. C. At the pump's payment terminal. D. Inside the vehicle's cabin. The correct answer is A, at the nozzle controlling the fuel flow. During the refueling process of a placarded vehicle, it's crucial to have someone present at the nozzle controlling the fuel flow. This person can promptly stop the fueling process in case of an emergency, ensuring the safety of both the vehicle and its hazardous materials cargo. Question 8. Which type of hazardous materials should not be loaded in the same vehicle with animal and foodstuffs? A. Flammable liquids. B. Corrosive materials. C. Explosives. D. Poisons. The correct answer is D. Poisons. Animal and foodstuffs should not be transported in the same vehicle with poisons to prevent potential contamination or harm. This separation ensures the safety of both the cargo and the environment. Question 9. When transporting chlorine, how much of it in gallons requires you to stop before crossing a railroad grade? A. More than 50 gallons. B. Any amount. C. Over 100 gallons. D. Less than 25 gallons. The correct answer is B. Any amount. No matter the quantity, if you're carrying chlorine, it's essential to stop before crossing a railroad grade. This precaution is necessary due to the hazardous nature of chlorine, ensuring safety for both the driver and others on the road. Question 10. What action should you take upon realizing a tire leak while transporting hazardous materials? A. Continue driving cautiously and monitor the leak. B. Speed up to reach your destination sooner. C. Stop immediately and replace the tire. D. Stop at the nearest safe place and fix it. The correct answer is D. Stop at the nearest safe place and fix it. If you detect a tire leak while carrying hazardous materials, it's essential to prioritize safety by stopping at the closest safe location and addressing the issue. Timely action can prevent potential accidents or hazards related to the leakage. Question 11. While transporting 2,000 pounds of corrosive materials, how many feet from the road can you park for a brief time if work necessitates it? A. 5 feet. B. 100 feet. C. 200 feet. D. 50 feet. The correct answer is A. 5 feet. If your work requires a short stop, you can park within 5 feet of the road while carrying 2,000 pounds of corrosive materials. This limited distance helps maintain safety for both the driver and other road users. Question 12. What is the maximum permissible total transport index for all packages in a single vehicle? A. 10. B. 25. C. 50. D. 75. The correct answer is C. 50. The highest allowable total transport index for all packages within a single vehicle is 50. This index accounts for the combined radioactivity of the transported materials and helps ensure safe handling and transportation. Question 13. If the term prohibited is noted or typed in the hazard class column of any entry within the hazardous materials table, what is the appropriate course of action? A. The product can be transported with additional precautions. B. The product must never be transported. C. The product should be transported during daylight hours only. D. The product can be transported with proper ventilation. The correct answer is B. The product must never be transported. If the term prohibited is present in the hazard class column of an entry in the hazardous materials table, it signifies that the product must never be transported due to its high level of danger or risks associated with it. Question 14. When dealing with packages of explosives, what precaution should you observe? A. Wear reflective clothing. B. Use only gloved hands. C. Never use hooks or metal tools. D. Keep the packages uncovered. The correct answer is C. Never use hooks or metal tools. To prevent accidental ignition or damage, it's crucial to avoid using hooks or metal tools when handling packages of explosives. These items could cause sparks or friction that might trigger a dangerous situation. Question 15. What document must carriers provide to each driver responsible for transporting Division 1.1 or Division 1.2 materials? A. A copy of the vehicle registration. B. A copy of FMCSR, Part 397. C. A detailed map of the transport route. D. A list of emergency contact numbers. The correct answer is B. A copy of FMCSR, Part 397. Carriers are obligated to provide each driver handling Division 1.1 or Division 1.2 materials with a copy of FMCSR, Part 397. This regulation covers the requirements and guidelines for the transportation of hazardous materials, ensuring that drivers are equipped with the necessary information for safe transportation. Question 16. What is a requirement when transporting chlorine in cargo tanks? A. An emergency kit for controlling leaks and fittings on the cover plate. B. An emergency escape ladder. C. A first aid kit. D. A portable restroom facility. The correct answer is A. An emergency kit for controlling leaks in fittings on the cover plate. When transporting chlorine in cargo tanks, it is necessary to have an emergency kit for controlling leaks in fittings on the cover plate. This kit is essential for promptly addressing leaks and preventing the release of hazardous materials, contributing to the overall safety of the transportation process. Question 17. Shippers are required to confirm their compliance with regulations when packaging hazardous materials. Which circumstance constitutes an exception to this rule? A. If the shipment is intended for international delivery. B. When transporting hazardous materials by air. C. The shipper is a private carrier carrying their own product. D. If the shipment contains radioactive materials. The correct answer is C. The shipper is a private carrier carrying their own product. The exception to the rule of certifying compliance with packaging regulations occurs when the shipper is a private carrier transporting their own product. In this case, they are not required to provide the certification. Question 18. Which of these is the primary entry to be recorded first on the shipping documents? A. The proper shipping name. B. The UN identification number. C. The emergency contact details. D. The recipient's address. The correct answer is A. The proper shipping name. The initial entry on shipping papers should be the proper shipping name of the hazardous material being transported. This name provides crucial information about the nature of the material and ensures accurate communication of its identity. Question 19. What type of emergency gear can be employed to signal the presence of a halted vehicle carrying explosives? A. Fire extinguishers. B. First aid kits. C. Reflective triangles. D. Flares. The correct answer is C. Reflective triangles. To alert others of a stationary vehicle transporting explosives, reflective triangles can be used to provide clear visibility and ensure the safety of both the driver and other road users. Question 20. If a liquid poison is leaking from your vehicle, how should you direct the spilled liquid, if possible? A. Away from streams or sewers. B. Into a nearby storm drain. C. Towards a grassy area. D. Towards the nearest drainage system. The correct answer is A. Away from streams or sewers. In the event of a liquid poison spill, if it can be done safely, you should direct the spilled liquid away from streams or sewers to prevent contamination of water sources and potential environmental hazards. Question 21. What must you inspect the cargo space for before loading or unloading any explosives? A. Loose floorboards or plates. B. Loose clothing. C. Overhead obstacles. D. Cell phone signal strength. The correct answer is A. Loose floorboards or plates. Prior to loading or unloading explosives, it's crucial to inspect the cargo space for loose floorboards or plates. This precaution is necessary to ensure that there are no gaps or openings in the cargo area that could potentially lead to mishandling or unintentional ignition of the explosives, promoting safe handling procedures. Question 22. If a vehicle transporting explosives collides with an object, when is it safe to move the object away? A. After notifying the authorities. B. As soon as possible to clear the road. C. The explosives have been removed and placed at least 200 feet away. D. Once the vehicle is repaired. The correct answer is C. The explosives have been removed and placed at least 200 feet away. After a collision involving a vehicle carrying explosives, you must refrain from moving the struck object until the explosives have been removed and relocated at a safe distance of at least 200 feet. This measure helps minimize the risk of ignition or further danger. Question 23. What type of materials prohibit smoking around any vehicle being loaded or unloaded? A. Inert gases. B. Flammable liquids. C. Corrosive substances. D. Explosives. The correct answer is D. Explosives. Smoking is strictly prohibited around any vehicle being loaded or unloaded with explosives. This measure is essential to prevent the risk of accidental ignition and to maintain a safe environment during the handling of highly sensitive and hazardous explosive materials. Question 24. What does the presence of a W in the initial column of the hazardous materials table signify? A. Waste materials subject to special handling. B. Water shipment that are not a RQ, reportable quantity. C. Warning for potential explosive content. D. Weather-related restrictions for transport. The correct answer is B. Water shipment that are not a RQ, reportable quantity. And W in the first column of the hazardous materials table indicates that the entry pertains to water shipments that are not considered a reportable quantity, RQ, which determines the minimum quantity of a hazardous substance that triggers specific regulatory requirements. Question 25. Which of the options below provides the accurate sequence for describing a hazardous material on shipping papers? A. Hydrogen bromide, non-flammable gas, UN 1048. B. UN 1048, hydrogen bromide, non-flammable gas. C. Non-flammable gas, hydrogen bromide, UN 1048. D. UN 1048, non-flammable gas, hydrogen bromide. The correct answer is A. Hydrogen bromide, non-flammable gas, UN 1048. The correct sequence for describing a hazardous material on shipping papers is proper shipping name, for example, hydrogen bromide, hazard class or division, for example, non-flammable gas, and UN identification number, for example, UN 1048. Question 26. What information is conveyed by the transport index of a radioactive material? A. The radioactive material's expiration date. B. The degree of control needed during transportation. C. The origin and destination of the material. D. The material's radioactivity level. The correct answer is B. The degree of control needed during transportation. The transport index of a radioactive material indicates the necessary level of control and precautions required while transporting the material based on its radioactivity level. This helps ensure safe handling and transportation of radioactive substances. Question 27. If your vehicle is leaking a hazardous material, what action should you avoid taking? A. Trying to stop the leak using available tools. B. Moving the vehicle slowly to prevent further leakage. C. Requesting assistance from nearby motorists. D. Any more than safety requires. The correct answer is D. Any more than safety requires. If a hazardous material is leaking from your vehicle, you should not move the vehicle more than necessary to ensure safety. This prevents further dispersion of the material and minimizes potential risks to both you and others on the road. Question 28. What is the maximum distance you are allowed to park a vehicle carrying hazardous materials from an open fire? A. 100 feet. B. 200 feet. C. 300 feet. D. 500 feet. The correct answer is C. 300 feet. Vehicles transporting hazardous materials must be parked at a distance of no more than 300 feet from an open fire to ensure safety and minimize the risk of fire or explosion related to the hazardous materials. Question 29. What is the minimum UL rating required for the fire extinguisher carried by the power unit of a placarded vehicle? A. 5 BC, B. 10 BC, C. 8 BC, D. 12 BC. The correct answer is B. 10 BC. A placarded vehicle's power unit is mandated to have a fire extinguisher with a minimum UL rating of 10 BC or higher to provide adequate fire suppression capability in case of emergencies. Question 30. Who holds the responsibility for preparing, packaging, and labeling hazardous materials, as well as completing the necessary shipping papers before transportation? A. Shipper. B. Receiver. C. Carrier. D. Driver. The correct answer is A. Shipper. The shipper is the party accountable for correctly packaging, labeling, and preparing the hazardous material shipping papers, ensuring compliance with regulations and safe transportation practices. Question 31. If the HM column of a shipping paper entry contains an X or RQ, what does it indicate? A. The shipment contains radioactive materials. B. The shipment is not regulated by hazmat regulations. C. The shipment requires special handling. D. The shipment contains perishable goods. The correct answer is C. The shipment requires special handling. When an X or RQ is marked in the HM column of a shipping paper entry, it signifies that the shipment requires special handling due to its hazardous nature, and it is regulated by hazardous materials, hazmat, regulations. Question 32. What is the purpose of the hazardous materials regulations, aside from ensuring safe drivers and equipment and communicating risk? A. To reduce transportation costs. B. To contain the material. C. To promote international trade. D. To speed up delivery times. The correct answer is B. To contain the material. In addition to safety and risk communication, the hazardous materials regulations aim to ensure that hazardous materials are properly contained during transportation, minimizing the potential for leaks, spills, or accidents that could harm the environment and public safety. Question 33. A hazard class name or ID number should not be employed to characterize AN, A. Radioactive material, B. Non-hazardous material, C. Corrosive substance, D. Flammable liquid. The correct answer is B. Non-hazardous material. A hazard class name or ID number should not be utilized to describe a non-hazardous material. These identifiers are meant to specify the type of hazardous properties associated with the substance being transported. Question 34. How many sides of a vehicle placarded for hazardous materials must display placards? A. 2. B. 3. C. 4. D. 5. The correct answer is C. 4. A vehicle carrying hazardous materials that require placards must have these placards displayed on all 4 sides of the vehicle. This ensures that the hazardous nature of the cargo is clearly communicated to other road users from all directions. Question 35. Out of the 3 available lists used by drivers, shippers, and carriers to determine whether a substance falls under regulated products, which one is included? A. Inventory of controlled substances. B. List of prohibited goods. C. Register of dangerous materials. D. List of hazardous substances and reportable quantities. The correct answer is D. List of hazardous substances and reportable quantities. One of the 3 lists utilized to identify regulated materials is the List of hazardous substances and reportable quantities. This assists in recognizing materials subject to hazardous materials, regulations, and reporting requirements. Question 36. Is it accurate that the intention behind hazardous materials regulations is to ensure safe drivers, contain the material, and hide the risk? A. True. B. False. C. Partially true. D. Sometimes true. The correct answer is B. False. No, the intent of hazardous materials regulations is not to hide the risk. The primary goals of these regulations are to ensure safe transportation by emphasizing driver safety, proper containment of hazardous materials, and transparent communication of associated risks to promote overall safety awareness. Question 37. Do containment rules guide drivers on loading, transporting, and unloading bulk tanks of hazardous materials? A. True. B. False. C. Partially true. D. Sometimes true. The correct answer is B. False. No, containment rules do not encompass all aspects of loading, transporting, and unloading bulk tanks of hazardous materials. While they provide instructions on preventing leaks and spills, these rules do not comprehensively cover the entire process from start to finish. Question 38. How many sides of a vehicle placarded for hazardous material must display placards? A. 2. B. 4. C. 3. D. 5. The correct answer is B. 4. A vehicle carrying hazardous materials that require placards must have these placards displayed on all 4 sides of the vehicle. This ensures proper identification and communication of the hazardous nature of the cargo from all angles. Question 39. What kind of pressure is applied when utilizing parking or emergency brakes? A. Hydraulic pressure. B. Air pressure. C. Friction pressure. D. Spring pressure. The correct answer is D. Spring pressure. When engaging parking or emergency brakes, the pressure is exerted using spring mechanisms, allowing the brakes to engage and hold the vehicle stationary, even if hydraulic or air pressure is lost. Question 40. Is it true that a driver must have received specialized training within the past 2 years before transporting flammable cryogenic liquids? A. True. B. False. C. Sometimes true. D. Partially true. The correct answer is A. True. Yes, it is true that before transporting flammable cryogenic liquids, a driver must have undergone special training within the last 2 years. This training ensures that the driver is equipped with the necessary knowledge and skills to handle and transport such hazardous materials safely. Question 41. Is it accurate that you should halt and inspect your tires at intervals of every 2 hours or 100 miles? A. True. B. False. C. Sometimes true. D. Partially true. The correct answer is A. True. Yes, it is true that for the safe transportation of hazardous materials, you should stop and check your tires every 2 hours or 100 miles to ensure their proper condition and mitigate the risk of potential issues while on the road. Question 42. Is it correct that a written route plan is required when transporting Division 1.1 explosives? A. True. B. False. C. Sometimes true. D. Partially true. The correct answer is A. True. Yes, it is true that when transporting Division 1.1 explosives, a written route plan is mandatory. This plan helps ensure that the transportation process is carefully planned and follows the safest route possible to minimize risks associated with transporting hazardous materials. Question 43. Is it correct that you are allowed to leave an unattended placarded vehicle if it is located more than 100 feet away from a public road? A. True. B. False. C. Partially true. D. Sometimes true. The correct answer is B. False. No, it is not true that you can leave a placarded vehicle unattended solely based on its distance from a public road. Unattended placarded vehicles pose potential safety risks and must adhere to specific regulations regardless of their distance from a road. Question 44. Is it accurate that you should slightly move the explosives to stabilize the load before separating two vehicles carrying explosives that have been in a collision? A. True. B. False. C. Partially true. D. Sometimes true. The correct answer is B. False. No, it is not true that you should move the explosives just enough to stabilize the load before pulling apart two vehicles carrying explosives that have been in a collision. Moving the explosives can increase the risk of ignition or further hazards. It's essential to follow specific safety protocols and guidelines when dealing with hazardous materials. Question 45. Is it accurate that the driver must immediately clean up any leaking hazardous material they come across? A. True. B. False. C. Partially true. D. Sometimes true. The correct answer is B. False. No, the statement is not true. If a driver discovers leaking hazardous material, they should not immediately attempt to clean it up. Instead, they should follow proper procedures, such as notifying authorities, taking safety precautions, and waiting for trained personnel to handle the cleanup to prevent potential risks and hazards. Question 46. Is it accurate that the labels found on packages containing hazardous materials are diamond-shaped? A. True. B. False. C. Partially true. D. Sometimes true. The correct answer is A. True. Yes, the labels used to indicate hazardous materials on packages are typically diamond-shaped. These diamond-shaped labels contain information about the type of hazard the material poses, helping to communicate the potential risks associated with the contents of the package. Question 47. Is it accurate that a shipment of hazardous materials is solely described by hazardous materials transportation papers? A. True. B. False. C. Partially true. D. Sometimes true. The correct answer is B. False. No, a shipment of hazardous materials is not exclusively described by hazardous materials transportation papers. While these papers provide essential information about the shipment, the proper labeling, placarding, and packaging of the materials also contribute to accurately describing and identifying the hazardous nature of the contents during transportation. Question 48. Is it accurate that the driver is accountable for maintaining hazardous material papers in the appropriate location? A. True. B. False. C. Partially true. D. Sometimes true. The correct answer is A. True. Yes, the driver is indeed responsible for ensuring that hazardous material papers are kept in the correct and easily accessible place within the vehicle. These papers provide critical information about the hazardous materials being transported and must be readily available for inspection by authorities and emergency responders. Question 49. Is it correct that the shipper is the party responsible for reporting an accident involving hazardous materials to the appropriate government agency? A. True. B. False. C. Partially true. D. Sometimes true. The correct answer is B. False. No, it is not the shipper's responsibility to report accidents involving hazardous materials. The duty of reporting such accidents falls on the carrier or operator of the vehicle transporting the hazardous materials, and they must promptly communicate the incident to the appropriate government agency as required by hazardous materials regulations. Question 50. Is it correct that Class 6 poisons must be transported in containers with interconnectors? A. True. B. False. C. Partially true. D. Sometimes true. The correct answer is B. False. No, it is not true that Class 6 poisons must be transported in containers with interconnectors. Interconnectors are typically required for transporting bulk liquids, but the specific requirements for transporting Class 6 poisons may vary based on hazardous materials, regulations, and the specific characteristics of the substance being transported. Question 51. Is it accurate that the transport index indicates which hazardous materials in the load being transported require placards? A. True. B. False. C. partially true. D, sometimes true. The correct answer is B, false. No, the transport index does not determine which hazardous materials in the load require placards. The transport index is a value that indicates the degree of control needed during the transportation of radioactive materials. It does not directly relate to placarding requirements for hazardous materials. Question 52. Is it accurate that you should not stack nitric acid in heights exceeding 2 feet during loading? A, true. B, false. C, partially true. D, sometimes true. The correct answer is A, true. Yes, it is true that stacking nitric acid beyond a height of 2 feet during loading is not recommended. Proper storage and handling practices for hazardous materials like nitric acid help prevent spills, leaks, and potential hazards associated with improper stacking or handling. Question 53. Is it accurate that cargo heaters should be disconnected when loading explosives? A, true. B, false. C, partially true. D, sometimes true. The correct answer is A, true. Yes, it is true that when loading explosives, cargo heaters should be disconnected. This precaution is taken to eliminate any potential sources of ignition or heat that could lead to an unsafe condition during the loading process. Question 54. Is it accurate that a driver transporting chlorine in cargo tanks is required to have an approved gas mask in the vehicle? A, true. B, false. C, partially true. D, sometimes true. The correct answer is A, true. Yes, it is true that a driver transporting chlorine in cargo tanks is obligated to have an approved gas mask in the vehicle. This safety measure helps the driver protect themselves in case of a hazardous material leak or release during transportation. Question 55. Is it correct that you are required to stop 50 to 100 feet before the nearest rail of a railroad crossing when driving a placarded vehicle? A, true. B, false. C, partially true. D, sometimes true. The correct answer is B, false. No, it is not accurate that you must stop 50 to 100 feet before the nearest rail of a railroad crossing when driving a placarded vehicle. Placarded vehicles are required to stop a greater distance away from the railroad crossing, usually within 15 to 50 feet, to ensure safe clearance and prevent potential accidents involving hazardous materials. Question 56. Is it accurate that the power unit of placarded vehicles must be equipped with a fire extinguisher having a UL rating of 10 BC or greater? A, true. B, false. C, partially true. D, sometimes true. The correct answer is A, true. Yes, it is true that placarded vehicles' power units must be equipped with a fire extinguisher that has a UL rating of 10 BC or higher. This ensures that the driver is prepared to handle potential fires and emergencies involving hazardous materials during transportation. Question 57. Is it accurate that placards must always be used to transport any quantity of material listed in Table 2? A, true. B, false. C, partially true. D, sometimes true. The correct answer is B, false. No, it is not true that placards must always be used to transport any amount of material listed in Table 2. Placarding requirements are based on specific criteria, including the quantity and type of hazardous material being transported, and not all materials listed in Table 2 necessarily require placarding. Question 58. Is it accurate that when transporting hazardous waste, you are obligated to sign and possess a Uniform Hazardous Waste Manifest? A, true. B, false. C, partially true. D, sometimes true. The correct answer is A, true. Yes, it is true that when transporting hazardous waste, you must sign and carry a Uniform Hazardous Waste Manifest. This manifest provides essential information about the hazardous waste being transported, ensuring proper tracking and documentation throughout the transportation process. Question 59. Is it accurate that the most crucial marking on a package is the name of the hazardous material? A. True. B. False. C. Partially true. D. Sometimes true. The correct answer is A. True. Yes, it is true that the name of the hazardous material is one of the most critical markings on a package. Properly identifying the hazardous material's name helps convey its nature and associated risks, ensuring that those handling and transporting the package are well informed and can take appropriate safety precautions. Question 60. Is it accurate that the fundamental description of a hazardous product must invariably include the name of the hazardous material? A. True. B. False. C. Partially true. D. Sometimes true. The correct answer is A. True. Yes, it is true that the name of the hazardous material must be included in the basic description of a hazardous product. This ensures clear and accurate communication about the nature of the material and its associated risks during transportation and handling.
Hope you enjoyed this video. If you still need more practice, then check out these videos or click the first link in the description to get your cheat sheet, which will help you pass your CDL exam on your first try.